made the list.
Doctor, see you now.
I'm better than you, and you know it.
Well, it's been a long time coming, but welcome back to Around the Ring. This is episode 281. I'm your co-host, Justin Hensley, and joined as always is my co-host, Steve Long. Steve, how's it going?
It's good. It's good. How you been?
Not too bad. It's been a little bit since we've recorded.
It's been a few weeks, yeah. We've had a couple of down weeks. Not in the world of wrestling, just things going on, yeah.
It is funny, like the time that we chose to not record episodes was actually pretty
wrestling
big.
heavy, yeah.
Yeah, as news goes.
Yeah.
But we're back, you know.
We're back.
Work and life and school and everybody, you know, everything
gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, we've got some stuff to talk about today.
We do.
We've got some news to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we're going to talk a little Impact Wrestling, just a little, and then some AEW, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But before we jump into our news, I do want to let everybody know we are part of the Red 5 Podcast Network. Very proud, happy to be part of that network. A lot of really cool podcasts on there. We are their only wrestling show. Most of their shows revolve around either Star Wars or comic books or movies. So if you are into any of that pop culture type stuff, go check them out at red5network.com or just look for them on Twitter at Red5Network. And their pinned tweet gives you a list of all of the podcasts that are on that network, or has a link to all of them. So speaking of podcasts, what's been going on with Punk Lotto?
Let's see. What was the last episode that went? Oh, the last episode that went up was the Dead Kennedys Bedtime for Democracy episode.
That's right.
We had Justin Smith of the bands Sweat, Graf Orlock, Ghost Limb, dozens of other bands. He's been playing music forever. That was a really fun episode. And then we've got the Patreon too, where we're always doing our weekly bonus audio and the new music Fridays.
Yeah, I've been enjoying those. Those are fun to listen to. I've been discovering some new stuff from those new release Friday podcasts, and you can only get those through their Patreon. So make sure you go and get signed up for that.
Yeah, that's patreon.com/punklautopod.
Yeah.
And you get the regular show, Punk Lotto Pod, on all your typical podcasting sources.
Good stuff.
What do you got going on with Rogue One over there? I saw you had a milestone today.
We did. We actually finally hit 100 subscribers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was pretty happy about that. In theory, that means we'll be able to have our own kind of custom URL. So we don't have to tell people, hey, find us at YouTube/gobbledygook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't got around to doing that yet because I think I'll have to wait like 24 hours or something like that before I can actually do it. But our last episode that we did was a review of the Batman movie.
Nice.
Tomorrow we are going to be doing a kind of a different episode than we've done before. We're going to be talking about the dark ages, if you will, of Disney, otherwise known as the Bronze Age. And that spans the years of 1970 through 1988, which was kind of typified by the beginning being the period just after Walt Disney died.
So that's what, like Black Cauldron era?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to
What
be
else?
talking, and we're actually going to be joined by Adam from another Red 5 network podcast called A Certain Point of View. So yeah, so that's what's been up with Rogue One Radio. We got some more Batman stuff coming up in the future. Other than that, I got my newsletter.
Yeah.
outerlimits.substack.com. I do those once a week, and sometimes they're really good and sometimes they kind of suck. So
Well, I haven't read any that suck yet, so I think they're all been good.
I think the hardest part of that whole weekly newsletter process for me has been figuring out a title.
Yeah.
Coming up with something that would make it sound interesting,
Enticing. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dave is, since we've recorded last, Dave has done a few of his One Band 5 song episodes. Most recently, he did. We were just talking about this earlier, and now I can't find the. Oh, there it is. He changed. That's right. He changed the logo. He did the Weaker Thins. Am I pronouncing that right?
The Weaker Thans?
Yeah.
That one was kind of my request, actually. Well, just more of my suggestion, and then he just took it and ran with it and recorded a whole episode around it.
That was cool that he took your suggestion. Before that, he did an episode on Blondie, which was really good. I'm going to be doing a new podcast eventually.
Yeah.
If I could get some time off I've got the sinking feeling that it's not going to happen until after I move because I don't have time.
Right. Well, fresh start,
Start, yeah. So I've got this idea for a podcast where I basically talk about a band, not necessarily the band. Well, yeah, I do talk about the history of the band, but like the history of the band through their discography. So I talk about all of their albums.
Yeah.
And I have the band for the first episode picked out, and I've got some notes written down, but not anywhere near as deep as I would want it to do to actually record the episode.
Yeah.
Once I get all my notes together, actually recording it is probably going to be pretty easy because I'll at least for this band, I'll have a lot to talk about. And then, which reminds me, speaking of podcast and me and music, this Thursday, I'm supposed to be recording an episode of Punk Lotto with you and your brother.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should pick a time to do that. But that episode will go up not this week, but the week after. But yeah, it'd be like the week after, immediately after recording with you. So
yeah. Just keep looking at our Twitter, and we'll post links to that as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah,
it should be fun. We're going to be talking about the Smoking Popes Get Fired album, which will be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I think. Cool. All right. Well, we got some news to talk about. Let's get into that.
Yeah. We've got some wrestling news to talk about. Well, you want to start with sad news first?
Let's just get it out of the way.
Yeah. So, news broke actually right before we pressed record that Scott Hall has passed away at age 63. We saw reports yesterday, I believe, and maybe even the day before, saying he'd been hospitalized. He'd recently suffered 3 heart attacks after surgery on a broken hip. So a blood clot broke loose and caused the heart attacks. And Kevin Nash posted this morning that the family planned on taking him off life support. Unfortunately, of course, when someone's on life support and they're, being taken off of it, the hopes are not very high. Yeah. And unfortunately, he passed away, and Scott Hall, the former Razor Ramon. I thought we should take a minute though to at least kind of like talk about him as far as his importance to wrestling and impact on either of our lives. Do you have any early Scott Hall or Razor Ramon memories?
Most of my memories come from his stint with WCW.
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly after WCW, he went over to WWE, which was still WWF.
Mm-hmm.
And then his return again to WCW. He actually got his start, as far as big promotion, if you want to call it that, through NWA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't get to see him in any of that. I do, however, remember he had a stint a couple of years in, at the time it was called TNA, which is now Impact. But I can't really remember a time when he wasn't a part of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
At least not until like the last 6 or 7 years. Maybe not even that long. I can't remember a time when he wasn't, when you didn't see Razor Ramon or Scott Hall doing something in wrestling. So it's crazy that he's gone. Did you know he actually, I didn't find this out until earlier today. I was looking up Wikipedia about him. And did you know he actually had a stint in New Japan?
Yeah, I think it was like right after he was let go from the WWE.
It was in 1990, so it was after his first no. It was his second and brief stint with WWF.
Yeah.
He had a very short showing in like 1990, and then he went to New Japan, and then he did some wrestling promotions that I've actually never heard of until he went to WCW again in 1990. 1991. And he was with them for a year. Then went to the WWF until 1996. And 96 back to WCW. So he moved back and forth a little bit. But I guess he went into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2014.
Yeah, that was what he did as a individual solo wrestler in 2014, and then inducted again with the NWO later.
I mean, it's always sad when you lose somebody from wrestling history, or anywhere for that matter. But it's just really disappointing because he had recently, like within the last couple of years, like finally got his life back on track.
Yeah.
From all the addiction and mental health problems or whatnot. He's finally starting to get back on track, and then all of a sudden it's a hip replacement.
Yeah.
So he like goes in for a hip. I don't even think it was a hip replacement. It was just surgery on his hip.
And he fell and broke his hip in his home, and then he had to have surgery on his hip. And
then because of it's just so. It's just sad.
Yeah.
No, the way I say it. He was just sad.
I was trying to remember the very first time I saw Scott Hall, and like I'm sure I'd maybe seen him before this, but like the introduction to him that I remember the most is actually from a WCW. I think it was WCW NWO PlayStation game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like they did that, and then they did Thunder right after, and they were fun at the time, but they weren't necessarily the best wrestling games. But I remember that the very first one had these little promo videos that you could watch, where a wrestler would like cut a promo on the character select screen. And I remember Scott Hall having one, and I just remember being fascinated by him, being like, who is this guy? I don't know anything about this guy. For some reason, I had bought a WCW like wrestling game, even though I hadn't watched WCW. I just wanted a wrestling game. And yeah, he had cut a promo on there. And I remember being really funny. That's my original reaction to it. And then being a WWE viewer, I was very excited to see him come in to the WWE with the new NWO. Though that run was disappointing, of course. But his classic matches with the ladder matches with Shawn Michaels are some of the greatest ladder matches ever. And I remember watching those matches when I was getting into like the wrestling DVD collecting phase, and like getting like a WWE documentary about like ladder matches, and they had those matches on there, and they were amazing. And yeah, it's always sad, when a wrestler passes away, especially super well known wrestler.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like we should say something about him. It's not the most happy of subjects, but
no, not really.
Yeah, but wish his family well, and
yes,
send their condolences, and all the wrestling fans. I'm definitely going to be looking up clips and videos of him in the coming days, but
yeah.
We have another bad news story that
is this the WWE one, or
well, this is about Big E.
Oh yeah. Oh dang. Yeah.
Big E broke his neck in a botched belly-to-belly suplex onto the floor. The good news, he will not need surgery.
Yeah.
There's no damage to the spinal cord or the nerves or anything like that. It's purely just like the vertebrae are cracked. So he'll be out for a while, of course.
Yeah.
But
I heard it was like Scott Steiner's son that did it.
No, it was Ridge Holland. He's like Sheamus's partner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's that's also like what it sounds like. He's got an injury similar to Hiromu Takahashi when he broke his neck. He luckily didn't damage the spinal cord or anything like that, so he was able to make a recovery and look great in the ring. He still looks great in the ring. So hopefully this means Big E will make a full recovery. But that's the other thing about being a wrestling fan is the injuries. It's always tough, especially if you've seen the footage too. These wrestlers put themselves on the line, and sometimes it can ruin their lives, just for entertainment purposes. And we always want to appreciate the wrestlers and what they're doing. We kind of acknowledge that it is dangerous what they do. So speedy recovery to him, hopefully.
Yes, definitely.
And one more WWE kind of related story. Not a happy.
This one is kind of ridiculous. This is the one about about formerly known as Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
That's they're changing his name to Butch.
Yeah. Pete Dunne is now Butch, the guy who's been wrestling for the company for, I think they said like 5 or 6 years, as Pete Dunne on NXT, on the main roster. You know, this isn't a stranger. This isn't like a brand new person that you can repackage.
Yeah.
We know who he is, but now he's been relabeled Butch. So yeah, it's just like what they did with Walter, changing his name to Gunther. Which, by the way, I feel like he hasn't even been seen since they changed his name.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Wonder why.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah. Apparently, there's a rumor going around that his name is a kind of a joke because he's teamed up with the previously mentioned Ridge Holland, whose first name is Luke in real life, and so Luke and Butch were the Bushwhackers, and so that's the joke now. I don't know. I don't know if that's actually true, but that's what someone else pointed out. But yeah, poor Butch. I won't be calling him that. I'll be calling him Pete Dunne until.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't. I wonder how many people are gonna actually call him Butch.
Yeah.
Like why do they? I don't know. Why do they do this sort of thing?
Because Vince McMahon's a lunatic.
He really is. I could have answered my own question, but
yeah,
man, that was. Yeah, I don't. I don't. He's just crazy, man.
Well, we got some good news we can talk about.
Yeah.
Or interesting news. Actually, we haven't recorded since the news was announced that Tony Khan has purchased Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I can remember that we had a lot to talk about that week, and then we didn't record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
For Ring of Honor. I've just got. I think that there's possibilities that Ring of Honor could get either its own TV deal, with like a real network, or just all around better distribution through this team up.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that the story this week was that Tony Khan revealed that he will be the one doing the booking for Ring of Honor going forward. So
okay, well,
they said his first show will be the Supercard, I believe, is the first show he's going to book for Ring of Honor, which I'd be very curious to see what that card looks like.
I've got high hopes because he's for the most part done pretty well with most of the booking in AEW.
I guess my concern is he going to be able to manage to book Dynamite, Rampage, whatever pay-per-views, Dark, and Ring of Honor? It's a lot of booking.
That is a lot, yeah.
And booking burnout is a real thing. Like, bookers do run out of ideas and need some help. I mean, I know we're probably not close to him burning out yet, but
well, I just wonder. I mean, he says he's going to be doing the booking, but I got to imagine he's going to have a lot of help too.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of great wrestling minds in the AEW, so like, there's a high chance of it succeeding. The only thing here's what I'm actually hoping is what's going to happen, is that one of these dark shows goes away. I don't think we need both Elevation and regular dark. I
Probably
think
not.
we
Probably
could
not.
keep one of them because the one, I believe it's Elevation, is actually filmed live, or not filmed live, but filmed in front of a crowd the same day as usually Dynamite. So do that so the people can get their, the up and comers can get their, reps in, and like you can get, win-loss records up and down the way you need them to. But I believe just Dark itself was being filmed in a studio.
Yeah.
So hopefully what that means is just make that show be the Ring of Honor presence. Maybe get some TV out of it. It'd be cool if it had its own TV.
Yeah.
It'd be nice though, that if Ring of Honor has its own sort of dedicated roster, whereas like you don't see anyone on Ring of Honor on AEW except for the occasional like one-off or call-ups or something along those lines. But
yeah,
there's stories about it being Ring of Honor being the kind of developmental for AEW, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. Let some like bigger AEW names pop in every once in a while for some special appearances.
Definitely.
He did like a media, I think this was around Revolution, where people asked him about him being the booker, and he directly referred to NXT and talked about how Black and Gold was not what Vince McMahon wanted, and how the new 2.0 NXT is more in line with what Vince McMahon wants. So he kind of equated it to being like, well, I want Ring of Honor to be in my presentation that I want, so that's why I think he wants to be the one in control of the booking and everything. I mean, hopefully I don't know. If it's got a dedicated roster, I think it'll work.
Well, I mean, like you said, we get the first con-owned event on April 1st. Supercard of Honor, which, interestingly enough, is in the Dallas area. So,
you still going to be around?
Yeah, I don't leave till May, so
yeah,
there's a chance that I could get down there to see that. I'll have to find out. I actually haven't figured out how to get tickets to that. I've never been to a ROH event. But Jonathan Gresham and Bandito have a match. The Briscoe brothers have an unnamed opponent.
That's got to be FTR.
It's got to be. And then the only we've got 3 other matches that have been announced for it, but none of them. They only have one competitor listed for each one. One of them, strangely enough, is Swerve Strickland.
Nice.
Who just got signed to AEW.
Yeah.
Oh no, he does have an opponent. He's going to be wrestling Alex Zane.
Okay. Yeah.
But the other 2, they've got Joe Hendry.
Yeah. He's a British guy, Australian guy. I'm not sure.
Scottish. He doesn't have an opponent, and the other one is Ninja Mac.
Oh, he's a GCW guy.
Yeah, I think he's been on Lucha Libre too.
Yeah, maybe he's supposedly going to Noah, I believe.
Yeah. Well, he's already been on Noah. He was on a show for Noah in January.
Oh, okay, so it's already happened. Yeah.
Yeah. But those are the only ones that have been announced. But then some of them, the opponents aren't even announced. But depending on what kind of price tag we're looking at. I could probably make it down there. That's not that far a drive, really. I mean, there's also strong chance that Lethal will be there.
Yeah, there's always a high chance of that. You know, that is kind of the good thing about Ring of Honor is that now he could kind of like spread around some of this roster that he has. And like, if you put them exclusively on Ring of Honor, then you're not going to overexpose them or anything like that. So I don't know. The only thing I'm worried about is that Ring of Honor will be booked like Dark, which is not that entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, they're mostly squash matches. So hopefully that means the Ring of Honor will be booked more like a traditional wrestling show and not a enhancement show. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. We get to see.
Yeah.
TBD.
So, there are still a lot of tickets left
Mm-hmm.
for Supercard of Honor. There are no ringside seats left.
Yeah.
But the most expensive seats, according to the Curtis Colwell Center website, which is where you can get the tickets, the most expensive ones are $70. So not too horrible.
Yeah. We might have someone on the grounds then.
Might be.
Live reporting.
Yeah. Do some live tweeting from Supercard. I think you've got one more piece of news.
Yeah, this is a little piece of good news here. Roosh, the former Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, former CMLL champion, original Los Ingobernables member. He's returning to the ring after an injury, knee injury at Ring of Honor's Glory by Honor. And he's supposedly going to be returning to the ring April 29th for Robles Promotions. Unsure of that promotion. I think it must be an independent. And he will be teaming with his father, Bestia del Ring, and a new member of Los Ingobernables, which is exciting. I'm very curious to see who this new member is going to be. And they will be facing the trio of LA Park, Marco Corleone, the former Mark Jindrak, and Chris Adonis. So, curious. Wonder who that will be.
I don't know.
It could be one of his brothers, honestly. Jalistico or Dragon Lee, because they were never actually members of Los Ingobernables. But they were. Dragon Lee was in Los Faccionables.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see. I like Roosh. He's a pretty popular character in Lucha Libre, and I'd like to see what he does next.
Yeah. Cool. I guess that's it for news.
Yeah.
Next on the list, we've got a little bit of Impact to talk about.
Yeah.
Just kind of brief, not really any deep dives here. Just kind of want to talk about it in general. I've been trying to watch a lot more Impact lately. So Sacrifice happened last weekend, and I forgot about it. But interestingly enough, I was able to avoid, and not on purpose, just happened to be, I didn't get any spoilers over the week. So apparently, as much as I watch quote unquote wrestling Twitter, apparently not a whole lot of people were talking about Sacrifice, I guess. But
not a lot of people watch Impact.
Well, no, that's not actually true. There were a lot of people that I follow talk about Impact. They just, for whatever reason, did not mention anything about Sacrifice, which is weird because a lot of stuff happened. I mean, this was not one of their. Impact is weird in this way. They have very few pay-per-views.
Yeah.
But they have these monthly events that they call them. But the only way that you can watch them is subscribing to their YouTube channel or their Impact Insider thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I subscribe to their YouTube, so I get to see them. So it's weird. They're pay-per-views technically, but they're not really pay-per-views. But they do them once a month. Last month they did. What was one we were going to talk about it, but I think we didn't have an episode. They had No Surrender last month.
Yeah.
And that was on the 19th of February. And then just it seems like 2 weeks later, they did Sacrifice. So that's probably why I forgot about it, because it was so short after the last one.
Yeah.
So this, this event had 6 title matches. And of those 6, the title changed hands on 3 of them. They had an Impact, or they had an X Division match. Trey Miguel kept the belt, but he defeated Jake something, and that was actually a good match. It was a pretty good match. The next one was a tag team knockouts championship match, and the Inspiration actually lost the belts to the Influence.
Who's the Influence?
Okay, so everybody, you should know who the Inspiration is. It's the former, what were they called? The
Iconics.
Yeah. But the Influence is Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood.
Yeah.
And if you don't know who Tennille Dashwood is, anybody out there, in WWE, she was Emma.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Emmalina briefly.
Yeah. So that's been an ongoing feud for a while.
Yeah.
With these 2 teams. And then let's see. Deonna Purrazzo had another title match for the ROH Women's World Championship. She kept her belt, and she defeated Chelsea Green. Deonna Purrazzo has actually been pretty busy lately in Impact. She has been doing a lot of open challenges she's got this open challenge thing she's doing where she offers either one of her belts.
Right. Her AAA championship and a Ring of Honor championship.
Yeah.
So
she kept her belt. The next match right after that was the Impact Knockouts World Championship. And Mickie James actually lost to Tasha Steelz.
Oh, that's exciting.
So Tasha Steelz is the new Knockouts World Champion. And then the next one was a tag team match for the World Tag Team Championships. And that was another belt that was lost by the Good Brothers. And they lost to Violent by Design.
Who is Violent by Design?
Eric Young.
Okay.
He used to be in Sanity in WWE. And the other guy that's in that tag team with him is Joe Doring.
Oh, yeah. The guy wants to be Stan Hansen. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Rhino used to be in that tag team or that stable, whatever you want to call it. And he ended up getting kicked out. But I was kind of surprised to see them lose to Violent by Design. I thought with the way they were really pushing the Bullet Club thing, because the Good Brothers are now back in the Bullet Club. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, along with Girls of Destiny are out.
The Guerrillas of Destiny are out. Jay White kicked them out.
Except in Japan, I think they're still in Bullet Club.
I think they are too. I'm not sure how that works. But Jay White, speaking of which, actually also had a match. Interesting. Good match, but interesting in that his opponent was Alex Shelley.
Yeah.
Which is they have some history. But then the last match was for the Impact World Championship. Moose retained against Heath, who is, for you WWE folks.
Oh, yeah.
Heath Slater.
I was like, what? Who? Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a full name.
I had forgot that I mean, I knew he left WWE.
Yeah.
But I had forgotten that he was in Impact. Because the first time I saw him, and they didn't say what his name was, I didn't recognize him. And then when they announced him, and I started looking at his face, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Heath Slater. He is chunked up a little bit.
Yeah, he's called like Heath Miller online, but it's weird the Impact doesn't call him that. They just call him Heath. That's weird.
Yeah. So that was Sacrifice, and then this morning I caught the most recent episode of Impact Wrestling, which I don't really have a lot to say because none of the matches were really super interesting. Big things. Josh Alexander's back. He announced that he signed a new contract with Impact, and he's got an upcoming title match against Moose. And
I was a little disappointed to see him re-sign with Impact, but then I also thought about it for a minute, and I was like, well, AEW doesn't need any more new people right now.
They really don't. He would probably get lost in the shuffle. But he's going to be wrestling Moose at Rebellion, which I think is another event, not a pay-per-view. You know, I'm kind of curious. I'm looking this up now. What pay-per-views do they actually have besides Bound for Glory?
Slammiversary.
They got Slammiversary, yeah. Okay, Rebellion is actually a pay-per-view.
Okay, yeah, it makes more sense.
So Hard to Kill, their 4 pay-per-views are Hard to Kill, Rebellion, Slammiversary, and Bound for Glory.
They only have 4?
They only have 4.
Wow.
But then they have, every month, they have these events that are kind of like pay-per-views, but
yeah.
Rebellion is going to be in Nashville this year. No. That was last year. Sorry. Rebellion is going to be in Poughkeepsie, New York. Don't know when Slammiversary is. They haven't announced. It's usually in July, but they haven't announced where it's going to be. Last 2 years, they've had it in Nashville, which I think is their headquarters.
Yeah, the current one.
Yeah, it's where their studios are at.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's back. Going through the matches here, there really wasn't anything all that interesting to talk about. There's none of the matches were bad per se. They just weren't terribly interesting. The main event was Eddie Edwards versus Rick Swann, it was a decent match, but there were some nefarious goings on in that match too, because with Eddie Edwards now part of Honor No More, they're getting involved in nefarious ways. But yeah, so that was Impact for the week.
Well, I didn't watch anything else other than AEW.
Yeah, I kind of figured. That's
New Japan Cup has been going on, and I've heard there have been really good matches. I just have not had the time to watch any of them. I think there's like a Hiromu Takahashi and Minoru Suzuki match, which I really want to see. And then like a Tomohiro Ishii and Shingo Takagi match. They're supposed to be really good. Like good matches. I just have not had a chance to watch them yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can jump into some AEW. Talk.
Well, what was the most exciting segment on Dynamite for you this week?
That really there's no there's no second guessing. That was when Jeff Hardy showed up during the emergency AHFO meeting,
which I'm hoping now means it's just the
AFO.
AFO.
Yeah.
The HFO has been one of the worst segments in AEW for the last couple months because it just felt directionless and they just threw a bunch of people together that had nothing else to do. That's what it felt like. And the inclusion of Andrade really helped because I really did enjoy the storyline of him trying to buy Darby Allin away from Sting because he thought Darby was a little kid who worked for Sting. And that's been fun. And their Revolution match was actually really fun. The AHFO versus Sting, Darby, and Sammy Guevara match was way better than it should have been. But I'm glad to see Matt is now out of the AFO. And now we've got Jeff Hardy. The Hardys are back together in AEW. And they even came out to their old Hardys theme music, which was my absolute favorite part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta say, I can't tell you how excited Hardy Boys are pretty much my all-time favorite tag team. And it was so weird to see Matt in AEW without Jeff.
Yeah.
It was just weird. So I was really glad to see that the Hardy Boys are going to be back together, and we're going to see to an already stacked tag team roster. It's going to be pretty amazing to see some of the matches these guys are going to do.
Yeah, there are so many good tag teams in AEW, and I feel like if they're smart, they'll use the Hardys as a way to give these like younger teams like a boost and some recognition, and and they can still wrestle well. You know, they're not like, you know, clearly taking the same bumps that they used to, but
right.
They can still move well enough to like have good matches. So I'm looking forward to seeing everything that they do. I'm sure that means we'll probably see Private Party against the Hardys first, or maybe the Butcher and the Blade first. One of those two teams.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's going to be a feud or a alliance with Sting and Darby Allin.
I could see them for a couple weeks, maybe working together. You know, the Hardys and Sting and Darby versus the Butcher and the Blade and Private Party. I can see that being the story they go with first.
Yeah.
And then you could even transition that story into the Hardys versus Darby and Sting, you know.
Yeah, you could.
So, yeah. So many fun combinations of tag teams and
yeah. What tag team match with the Hardy Boys are you most looking forward to seeing? Like not the first feud that we're gonna get,
Right.
but what's the one you're most looking forward to seeing?
Probably FTR. I think that would probably be the most
Okay.
fun.
I'd have to go with the Young Bucks.
Yeah. The reason why I didn't say the Young Bucks is because we have seen the Young Bucks and the Hardys go at it in the past.
I haven't.
When you should. Their Ring of Honor match, their Ladder Wars match that they had the night before their TLC match at WrestleMania when they made their comeback was pretty amazing. Yeah, they've had a few matches with them. Ring of Honor on the not an Impact. They weren't there at the same time, but
well, another one that I'm looking forward to seeing, but we won't see for a while because one of them is injured. Is going to be the Lucha Brothers.
Yeah, so they were in Impact at the same time. I wonder if they ever had a match during that time period.
There might have been, but I don't remember one.
I don't either. I'd like to see them against Red Dragon. I think that would be a really fun match. Who else even works? I mean, Jurassic Express, of course. Oh, yeah. The Brody King and Aleister Black. That'd be a really fun one, too. Now I'm just trying to think, like, I don't know. There's so many tag teams in AEW that I would just be happy to see just about any of them with them.
Yeah, I imagine that any match they're going to be in is going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you my favorite segment of Dynamite.
Okay.
The William Regal promo.
Oh, yeah.
After the it was Moxley and Bryan Danielson against, was it Wheeler Yuta? No, Wheeler Yuta had the standby match. It was I should look at my results here to see who it was that they wrestled. Because it was, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot.
The Workhorsemen.
Yes, JD Drake and Anthony Henry, my local tag team. I love those guys. I was so happy to see them get that spot because Anthony Henry was in NXT while William Regal was still there. And so they probably knew each other. I think even before the match, William Regal kind of made some comments to the Workhorsemen. So he had to remember him. So I'm hoping there was a little bit of conversation in the back beforehand, but
yeah.
But the promo itself, it was so good.
It really was.
You know, it was Tony Schiavone came to the ring and they interviewed him, and it was just nice to see these two guys talk to each other after not being in the same company for years, and then Regal kept mentioning how he's going to die soon. It's very
I'm like, what do you know something we don't know?
He had to make some statement saying he's actually in great health. He was just being kind of hyperbolic with his promo there, but
yeah. Wow.
But I loved him talking about Bryan Danielson and learning from Bryan Danielson, learning from William Regal. And unfortunately, this segment ran long. William Regal had to actually apologized because his segment ran long. He wasn't a good judge of his time, and said some of the other segments suffered because of it. Which I don't know. I don't know what suffered, but I don't know. I would let him stay out there forever.
Yeah, I who cares? I mean,
yeah. I mean, he wanted to be respectful of the office and the wrestlers who got shorted time, but I can't. I hope they let him talk again this week because I just love hearing.
Yeah,
I hope he talks about Moxley more this week because I think that was something that kind of got cut a little bit because he went on a little too long. But
yeah. Yeah, that was a great segment. What do you think of the match between Hangman and Dante Martin?
I thought it was a good match, but also like I don't know, out of nowhere. Like
I would agree. Like they made some comment that he was the number 2 contender, and I'm like, how?
I think he just had a really good win-loss record, and then
Maybe,
they were in story trying to kind of justify why he wouldn't be getting, give him a title shot, have him lose it, and then he can go back down the rankings.
Yeah, I mean, it was match-wise, it was a good match. I mean,
it was fun.
Watching Dante is good, and then the post promo by Hangman, where he basically spent the entire short promo building Dante up after kicking his ass. So that was
I think Dante is going to be going back into more tag matches with his brother. So I'm excited.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because they make a good pair.
Yeah. What do you feel about them continuing the Adam Cole program?
You mean continuing his quest for gold?
I mean, I guess it's just more of just like that we're going back to Hangman and Adam Cole. I mean, I guess the story is it's still that like the Bucks versus the Red Dragon thing is going on.
I think it's odd because we had the match. It was a straight match.
It was great.
It was a really good match. But it wasn't it was one clean.
Yeah.
There wasn't really any type of weird going on. I know he won clean.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're going by quote unquote the rules, Adam Cole should go to the back of the line now.
Yeah. I think they're addressing. I think that's why they're going to do this.
So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure he's got an idea of what's going on, but yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the other thing I wanted to talk about in regards to Dynamite. Oh, the TNT Championship.
Oh yeah. That
was a really good match.
Yeah, it was Scorpio Sky versus Sammy Guevara, and finally, Scorpio Sky became the TNT champion.
Yeah, that's really long overdue.
He should have beaten Cody. And then when he won the Face of the Revolution match, he should have won the match following that.
Yeah.
I don't know why well, it's because of Cody. Cody's Cody, and Cody was, as we're speaking right now, could potentially show up on Raw tonight.
I don't know. I mean, like I was saying before we started recording, I would find it incredibly hilarious if this all turns out to be a work, and he shows up on Dynamite this week.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing in that company.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't either.
But the match itself was really good. Sammy Guevara, Scorpio Sky. There's a lot of talk. People are saying that since Wardlow won the Face of the Revolution match and he's got now Scorpio Sky coming up for the TNT Championship, they're like, well, Scorpio Sky is going to be a transition champion, which I don't think that's the case.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think Wardlow is not going to win.
Right.
And I will predict it now. I think he is going to lose because MJF is going to get involved.
Absolutely. Or where he said a couple weeks ago, like, he's like, I'll let you have the match because if Wardlow like wins all this stuff, then MJF can have the match or the championship.
Yeah.
I wonder if MJF will then try and maybe, I don't know. It may be too soon for him to be like in a match after the dog collar match, which that dog collar match was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think MJF's just going to cost Wardlow the title.
I agree.
I hope so, because I don't want Scorpio Sky to lose it. I want him to go on for a decent little run.
I agree. I think Scorpio needs to have as long, if not longer, run than Sammy did.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That segment also featured a lot of junk from the America's Top Team, Dan Lambert and Paige Van Zant, and I don't care about any of that stuff.
I was going to ask about that, and I don't want to seem mean, but I don't really care that Paige Van Zant is coming to AEW. I mean,
I just don't care about MMA. I really do not care about MMA.
That's the thing. I don't really care about MMA wrestlers coming into AEW. It's just, whatever.
If here's my caveat on that. I don't care about MMA, and I don't care about mixed martial artists wrestling in wrestling matches. The only way I'll care is if they want to become professional wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they want to transition out of MMA or like do the occasional MMA match, but focus mainly on wrestling.
Well, that's the thing. You think that's what she is doing?
I have no idea with her.
Do you think she wants to leave MMA, or?
I would like it better if that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
Like a Shayna Baszler, like someone who like was MMA, quit doing that, and became a wrestler full time. Or a Matt Riddle, even though I don't like Matt Riddle, something like that, becoming a full-time professional wrestler. Or
right.
I don't want a Ronda Rousey situation, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of another one that did that too. Kind of tried to do a little bit of both. I'm not even mad at guys like Jake Hager who like have the occasional MMA match, or like Lashley did that too. But yeah, I don't want MMA to be their focus, I guess is my main thing, which is Dan Lambert's focus. That's what his whole thing. And maybe that's why I don't really care about Dan Lambert.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't, I just don't really see a point in them.
I mean, yeah, I'm not excited to see Ty Conti versus Paige Van Zant either.
No,
I don't think it's going to be a good match.
I could give less than a.
Did you think it was weird them like acknowledging Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti's relationship on screen?
Again, don't care.
Yeah, I don't care that they're in a relationship together. I also don't want to see it on TV. And also, we just saw Sammy Guevara like propose to his ex on TV within the last year. So like,
yeah,
it's not cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the whole, because I mean, the other promotion is no stranger to this sort of thing either, where they, have these big, like with oh man, who'd they do it with? They did it with Macho Man and
Miss
Elizabeth and all, and all that. It's like, okay, that's fine, I guess. I don't care.
I mean, I'm not against like couples in wrestling being together. I don't know. Maybe it's just because like the engagement thing is still kind of fresh in my mind. Of like,
could be.
That's maybe why I think it's weird. Like, I thought it was weird when Angel Garza in WWE like proposed to his fiance in NXT, and then like he goes up to the main roster and he's like a Lothario type, flirting with everybody. It's like, we just saw him get engaged on TV. Please don't do this. I think they're still together, but still, it's
Yeah.
weird when you're acknowledging it on TV. Honestly, yeah, I don't know. Acknowledging on TV is kind of tricky because they could break up. So,
Yeah.
and then it's weird. But whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, really.
Apparently, yeah.
Apparently, neither one of us do.
I did want to mention Jericho and Eddie Kingston promo.
Oh,
at the
yeah.
top of
Okay.
the show.
Yeah. That was. Yeah. Go ahead. There was some interesting events that came out of that little discussion.
Yeah.
Well, I say interesting, but
I'll tell you what I think. So, the only thing I really, really liked about it is the Eddie Kingston promo, and their promo leading up to Revolution was brilliant. I loved it. The what's a babyface promo. And then I just really loved like Eddie gets, real personal, and he talks about like his, the fan fest thing with, talking about people who coming up to him and referring to like the version of Jericho.
Yeah.
The legendary Jericho,
Right.
I mean, I guess I saw it coming. Jericho offering his handshake, and
Yeah.
very clearly the Santana and Ortiz program was not finished. But it looks like the Inner Circle's done.
That's what I got out of it.
And now we have the Jericho Appreciation Society, which they made a shirt for. So they're going with that.
Yeah, I gotta say that's kind of dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like the name. I'm fine. I honestly think he should have just called it Inner Circle 2.0, because 2.0 is part of it. It works perfectly.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't know where Sammy fits in with all this.
Well, didn't he quit the Inner Circle though?
Well, he was still wearing his Inner Circle vest when he came out to his match.
Oh, that's right, he did.
So I don't know. I'm happy that Eddie Kingston is with Santana Ortiz again. That's cool. A little Impact reunion there.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
So, yeah, I mean, I just liked it because of the Kingston portion of the segment primarily.
Yeah. Anytime you get to see some Eddie Kingston is good.
Yeah. I think the only other thing that we had on the show that I think is worth talking about is the Thunder Rosa versus Layla Hirsch match. Not because the match itself was anything like special. It was fine. I mean, I didn't mind it. But so at Revolution, Thunder Rosa lost.
Yeah.
And I thought on that show that was a mistake. They should have given it to Thunder Rosa. Now that I know what they're doing, they are now going to have a rematch in Thunder Rosa's hometown in a steel cage match. And now I'm like, oh, well, that's clearly going to be the more exciting place for her to win.
Yeah.
So now it makes sense, the Revolution match she lost. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm more excited for their cage match than I was for their last match. So
yeah, I agree. I'm excited to see them in a cage match. However, again, should she not have gone to the back of the line?
Well, that's what the match was for. legit Layla Hirsch was number 1 ranked and Thunder Rosa was number 2 ranked. So they had a match and she beat legit. Just because you lost your title shot doesn't necessarily mean that you're still not in the ranking where you were.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's not the number 1 contender anymore, but well, now she is, but she wasn't. So that's why they had the match to redo it. Oh, by the way, did you notice that the AEW Women's Championship is new? It changed it.
No, I didn't.
It's a new belt. I like it way more. You should pull it up and look at it. Because before I thought that belt, like the women's belt, looked tiny and dainty. Because it was very small and it was like all oval metal plates. But this one I really like because this one's got like the classic kind of like rectangular pieces, like the plates on the belt. Yeah, I think it's a much better looking belt.
I wonder if they did that because they're about to turn it over. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they just looked at it and was like, "Oh, let's change that." I don't know. I think it looks great. But they've already remember like when Hikaru Shida, they like swapped her belt out at one point. Not that it looked that different. I don't remember what that old belt really looked like.
Yeah.
It looks slightly different, I guess, but it was still roughly the same shape. But the new one, I think, looks great.
Yeah.
Definitely prefer it. Yeah. Well, anything else from the AEW land?
Well, I mean, not from Dynamite.
Yeah.
I think that's all we've got for Dynamite. But let's see, Rampage. I did watch Rampage. But there wasn't anything super interesting about it. I mean, even before the show had started, there was only, off the top of my head, there was only one match that I knew of that I was looking forward to. I'm trying to think. I thought there was another match that was actually decent. I was looking forward to the Keith Lee and QT Marshall match, but only because of Keith Lee.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't care at all about QT Marshall.
I don't, and unfortunately, I mean, I'll go ahead and say it. I think it was because of his being the opponent was the reason that the match was a little more ho-hum than I was hoping.
Yeah. I can see that.
So as a whole, Rampage really wasn't all that exciting. Darby Allin had a match with Mark Quinn, which was a decent match. But Jamie Hayter had a match with Mercedes Martinez, which I was kind of looking forward to, but again, it was just like, it was all right. I don't know. There just really wasn't a whole lot terribly interesting about Rampage this week.
I feel that way about Rampage most weeks. Like there's nothing about them that makes me, well, I gotta watch that. Very rarely. It just feels like another Dark to me. Just like another Dark with actual more competitive matches, I guess is how it feels to me.
Yeah.
Though when Hook's on, I'm always happy when Hook's on. I will watch every Hook match. So
Yeah, those are definitely interesting. And I really thought that the Keith Lee match was going to be more interesting. And even like the main event, I kind of like I was watching it on I watch on Sling TV,
Mhm.
and I found myself hitting like there's kind of a fast forward type button on there. It's like a fast forward 30 seconds type thing. I
Yeah.
found myself hitting it a lot throughout the main event, which was Swerve Strickland and Tony Nese. Just it just wasn't interesting to me.
I blame Tony Nese.
I just
He's just not interesting.
I mean, I could say that about Swerve too. I've never found him all that interesting.
I disagree. I like Swerve. I've seen him live a few times.
No,
I do like him.
no, I mean it's fine if you like him. I'm just saying that I don't find him all that interesting.
Yeah,
But
he has a pretty strong connection with with the audience. You know, his reaction to him signing at Revolution was really good. So,
was it?
Yeah, it was a good reaction. They were chanting all his like catchphrases and everything before he even said them. They were chanting his name before he even came out.
Oh, okay. I did not notice that.
Yeah, he's got a strong connection with an audience. So, and he's well liked, I think. And I don't know. I think he's got a lot of potential in AEW. I don't think putting him in a match with Tony Nese was the smartest thing, but I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Tony Nese, but I wouldn't have signed him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I just whatever.
Yeah, so I feel about him in general. Well,
yeah, I think I don't think we have anything else to talk about because we didn't come up with a top 5 for this week.
We did not. Don't know. We have to come up with some ideas for top 5s. But yeah, it's fine. There was a Warrior Wrestling show that I should have watched. Maybe I'll watch it this week. I think it happened Saturday. Bunch of New Japan Cup matches I need to watch.
Yeah. One other thing that we didn't talk about, and we were going to talk about last week because it actually happened. But did you have anything about Revolution that you wanted to talk about?
I thought it was just a great show from top to bottom. Like every match was good. There wasn't a bad match on the show.
Yeah.
The weakest match being the Jade Cargill match.
Oh, by far.
And even then, it wasn't a terrible match. It was the weakest of the matches, you know. Yeah, it was I have to pull up like the actual Revolution card to see like what I'm missing.
Well, we had the dog collar match.
That match was brilliant. Like I loved that match.
Yeah, that was great.
The Wardlow finally turning on MJF, which we knew was going to happen. But the ring spot was so good. Oh, when he couldn't find the ring, and then he finds it just in time for CM Punk to use it.
Yeah.
CM Punk coming out in his old ring gear, his Ring of Honor ring gear and theme music
was pretty awesome.
That was amazing.
I'd have to say that was probably my favorite match of the night, followed fairly closely by the Eddie Kingston match.
Yeah. I'd put those two in the same order. Yeah. That Eddie Kingston match, like there's his pay-per-view matches, they're short, but so to the point and so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that match too. Trying to think if there's anything else that the ladder match, or not the ladder match. The ladder match was fun. TNT or the Face of the Revolution match was fun. Nice. It was nice to have like big men in a ladder match instead of all the high flyers. Feel bad for Orange Cassidy though. Unfortunately, he
got hurt. I think I read somewhere that it's not going to be a surgical.
Yeah.
He's hurt for sure, but not as much as he could have been.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. All the shows they've been doing, the big pay-per-views they've been doing have just been great. Like they're on a roll right now. And I just love what they're doing with this company. Yep. I still want the women's division to be a little better, but
I totally agree. Yeah. Yeah, they definitely need to
have the pieces, like they could make it great, but yeah, needs to be a little more focused. I think a Thunder Rosa championship run will freshen things up in the division. I'm looking forward to seeing the combinations they come up with for her.
Yeah.
Knight, what do you think about seeing Don Callis again on the kickoff show?
That was lame.
I don't know what quite the point of that was, other than to maybe just kind of like
piss everybody off.
Kenny's coming back soon, I guess is the idea. And he talked about the Elite and the Bucks and Cole and Red Dragon, so clearly we're leading to the Elite versus Undisputed in the future. So I don't know. When Kenny comes back, I'm sure that's the first program it's going to be. There was a story that Tony Khan said people were asking about a trios championship, and he said when they're going to do it, they're just waiting for Kenny to come back before they do it.
Oh.
So maybe that will be where they introduce that. Honestly, though, I don't really care about trios championships in any company. Except for Lucha Libre, I like, but yeah.
No, I'd have to say that I'm looking forward to if they do that.
Yeah, I mean there are a lot of trios in that company, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
I didn't care about Ring of Honor's trios division. I don't care about New Japan's trios division. I don't know. It has a historical precedent, especially with Lucha Libre, so I get it, but I don't know. I don't love like multi-man matches in general.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, they can get kind of clustered.
I do like a classic tag, like just a 2-on-2 tag, but any more than that, then I'm not wild about them. But
yeah.
Anything from Revolution you wanted to mention?
No, I mean we've already mentioned everything I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think that's a good place to end the show then.
Yeah. So next week we should have, I don't know what else is besides AEW. I don't know what else is going on next week for wrestling.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess we'll find out
to watch.
So. Yeah.
Maybe Cody will appear on Raw as soon as we stop recording.
Maybe. All right. Well, that is it for another episode of Around the Ring. Everybody have a great week.
See you later.
Goodbye and good